And Buddha said, Om. Nirvana means blown. There's no ego, just ebb and flow. Nothing gold can stay, just natural decay. We're actors on the stage. All things pass away. Now that I got you with me, and the moon is high. Now that I got you with me, now Isis can shine over the mud, over the mountain, under the flood, under the fountain. Project the Buddha of the basin now.
Chickadee chick, chick, chick. Okay. Today we'll be discussing the figure 8 flow, dropping into the alpha state here on the Buddha of the Basin. It's 1:44 p.m. Tuesday afternoon, 5/26/2026. If you've seen Godzilla from 2019, or more likely if you haven't seen Godzilla from 2019 starring Millie Bobby Brown, there's an exquisite scene in there where she tries to help her mom, and her mom has created a device called the ORCA. And the ORCA is intended to broadcast the alpha frequency of these titans back to them to put their brains back into the alpha state. Okay, it helps them relax and drop back into the alpha state because they're very disruptive and destructive, and harmful to human beings in our society. In this one particular scene, they've just, I guess, the military and the scientists are observing the Titan. It's like a giant caterpillar, or it's not even a snail. It's just some giant insect from the looks of it. And the soldiers are nervous and they have their weapons pointed upon this Titan. And the mother, she's like a scientist, but she's essentially one of the villains because she's joined with this nefarious gang of sort of mercenary type soldiers who are sort of helping the Titans set them free, if you will, so they can terrorize the planet. She thinks she's doing good. I forget as to why. So forgive me. I don't want to get too in the weeds here. The Godzilla 2019. I much prefer Jurassic Park in general than the Godzilla movies. But in this one particular scene, they're able to turn on this ORCA device, and it takes the device a few painful minutes to try to locate based upon like it scans the Titan. So she has to be very close, which puts the mother in danger. And here comes Millie Bobby Brown, even though she's not supposed to, scan the key card and go and be with her mom, putting herself in danger. But at the nick of time, this ORCA device broadcasts, or first it finds the alpha frequency for this giant Titan, then it broadcasts the frequency, and the animal completely calms down and pacifies itself. So on the Substack, I've sort of linked that scene. But yeah, it's basically the ORCA steel scene from Godzilla, or Millie Bobby Brown ORCA scene. You'll find it. Or of course, you can just watch the whole movie. I think I might have seen the movie. My kids have watched it. I have a 6-year-old and a 9-year-old, and Emerson, the 6-year-old, we've watched. He's been to Godzilla since he was like 3 or 4, so we've watched it. But unless you have, I'm not sure. I was going to say unless you have a young child, but that might not be true. The other scene, which if you're over 40, or you know somebody, or you have a loved one, a parent over 40, you've seen Shawshank Redemption. You've seen Andy Dufresne come out that river of shit, so to speak, and come out clean on the other side when he's out there in the moonlight, in the rain, getting free again, feeling free. He's been wrongfully convicted. He has to tunnel through shit to get out of this prison, and he's literally covered in shit, and so he gets himself clean, and but the whole scene is a scene of him escaping Shawshank, because when you're in this high beta brainwave, the chain beast is stamping. You yourself, you feel like the beast, like the Titan. You've been triggered and taken out of your alpha state, and you're short of attention. You're hyper vigilant. You're hyper aroused to a certain degree. You have the cortisol and the adrenaline going through your body. You're able to make a quick decision, but you're not in a place to offer compassion or really a lot of listening, tender forgiveness, and emotional mammalian bonding, if you will. So today we're going to talk about getting out, getting into the figure eight flow, dropping into the alpha state. How do we pray and meditate? For those of us who don't do this, but aspire to do this, are inspired, but then in the moment, in the heat of the moment, in the heat of the night, how do we first cool things off? Okay, so I'm referencing this ORCA alpha state from Godzilla and Andy Dufresne. These are the two scenes that come to mind when we are on the subject of getting out of the prison of the biological Titan state that that has us or can get us almost on all fours. Okay, so now here comes a title that the AI Gemini helped me draft. Got nothing to hide here, with you always to abide. It's called The Prison of Light in Your Biological ORCA Protocol. Subtitle: Why Modern Devices Have Fractured Your Focus and the Neuro-anatomical, one might hopefully say alchemical, blueprint to reclaim your cognitive sovereignty. Okay. If you have trouble focusing today, if you feel a chronic background hum of anxiety, or if you find yourself constantly reaching for your phone to escape even a few seconds of boredom, I need you to understand something clearly right now. This is not a moral failing. You are suffering from a physical structural network injury. We are living in an attention war zone. Oh, God help me. Alex Jones, right? There's a war on for your mind. Modern digital algorithms are engineered around an intermittent variable reward schedule, the exact same neurological loop that makes slot machines addictive. Every time you swipe through short form videos, your brain is flooded with unearned dopamine. Your brain responds to this continuous flooding by down regulating, I bet you've heard this before, its own natural dopamine receptors, leaving you in a state of absolute dopamine bankruptcy the moment the screen turns off. So soon we're going to get some proof here. The large-scale, multi-year adolescent brain and cognitive development ABCD study has officially qualified this neurological erosion. Tracking thousands of brains over multiple years, researchers recorded a direct, compounding increase in several attention deficits correlated with short-form digital media habits. This dopamine deficit triggers what neuroscientists call the default mode interference hypothesis of ADHD. In a healthy brain state, when you choose to focus on an external task, your central executive network fires, which automatically forces a massive suppression blanket over your default mode network, the network responsible for daydreaming, internal narrative, and anxiety. One might simply say the ego. So the healthy brain architecture is the task-engaged central executive network. This is the dorsolateral prefrontal cortex and the striatum as well, giving you dopamine while you stay engaged in your task, especially as you begin the project takes shape and you approach your goal. Then you really get that rush of dopamine. Okay, but I digress. We have the default mode network. This is the scrolling brain. This is the digital fracturing. This actually shuts off that central executive network I was just talking about. So unfortunately, the default mode network is really the internal static of your own ego's chatter. And unfortunately, the more we give into this short attention span, the more we surrender what was originally a figure eight flow aligning itself with the sacral cranial pump and the abdominal breath, the diaphragmic breath, and the alpha state, and the deeper theta state, which would turn daydreaming into true visionary pursuits, even those of a daydreaming nature, when you align the breath with the alpha and the slower, lower theta current, you can really translate. These waves begin to reach the shore at the same time, and you can translate these thoughts into feelings and into metaphors that we can live by, into solutions, into new ideas, into a new way to help somebody else, a way that's heart open and heart focused and receives the heart rate variability and the magnetite in the stomach, in the gallbladder, in the liver begins to get on network, and you begin to digest again and rest. So what I'm talking about is a effort to re-engage the parasympathetic nervous system, because what so often happens is It's not that you're actually finished your shift, but your default mode network does not know you're at home on the sofa, so you still haven't begun to digest your lunch. Does that make sense to you? Like this is what a lot of us go through. I'm literally, as I'm discussing, the magnetite in my gallbladder and my liver and my small intestine, they're communicating. That's their means of communicating. But that's based upon the parasympathetic aspect of your nervous system. As long as there's a goal or a threat, you're not going to rest and digest. And the default mode network comes on and actually keeps you from, as long as you have your attention unregulated, I should say, by an unregulated breathing. At that point, your default mode network will generate this vacuum because nature abhors a vacuum. It'll take over and you'll get a self-referential loop, not truly self-referential, an autobiographical referential loop, which is what we're trying to avoid, which leads to the kind of scrolling, absent-minded clicker, the way we used to be with the TV remotes, clicker, just going through all the channels, scrolling. Or I know I can go on YouTube and I could scroll through 30 to 40 videos before I pick one. And that's the kind of dopamine that's short, that ultimately bankrupts your endogenous supply of dopamine and regrettably sort of retunes this default mode network and makes it even worse, as my kids would say. It makes it even worse, makes it even less helpful because now its attention span is short. At least, in the 300 years ago, the default mode network people was much longer. So the bottom line here is a scrolling brain is a broken toggle switch. Your default mode network refuses to deactivate. It stays stuck in the on position. The big titan still wants to still, you have a big titan in the room, so to speak, you have a bull in the china shop. It's bleeding out this internal static and cognitive noise straight into your daily life. So to cope with this constant interruption, your brain locks into a high beta brainwave pattern, which is 15 to 30 hertz cycles per second. This is a state of survival panic. It signals your body that it is under threat, freezing your diaphragm and trapping you in shallow chest breathing. This lack of air support forces you to chop up your spoken sentences, shortening your phrases, and physically flattening your spoken vowels. For the last 2,000 years, Western thought, from Aristotle's material reductionism to Newton's clockwork universe and Einstein's geometric relativity, has trapped us in a universe of external light while completely starving us of our internal breath. We have mastered the technology of outer light, screens, fibers, lasers, but we have completely lost the biological sovereignty of our inner light because we forgot how to breathe. To break out of this high beta prison, we must introduce a hard asymmetrical electromagnetic wedge into the brain's hemispheres. We do this by launching our own biological ORCA protocol. Okay, so here comes the cinematic metaphor, Redux. The Alpha broadcast. In the 2019 film Godzilla, King of the Monsters, a critical narrative arc revolves around a fictional bioacoustic device called the ORCA. Developed by paleobiologists, just go with me, the machine functions by analyzing, synthesizing, and broadcasting a dominant acoustic blueprint, quote, an alpha frequency, capable of communicating with and instantly pacifying rampaging prehistoric titans. In a climactic sequence, the young protagonist Madison, played by Millie Bobby Brown, hooks the device up to a massive loudspeaker system and floods the city with this single harmonic broadcast. The effect is immediate. The ancient destructive forces running rampant on the surface are pacified, subverting chaos and restoring systemic order or systematic order to the biosphere. Your nervous system already possesses a built-in biological ORCA device. You have just forgotten how to broadcast this frequency. So the biological ORCA cross chiasm. We have a left eye visual lock and a right nostril intake. This fires the right retinal fields, and the friction stimulates the left executive operating center. I think it's well, let me just continue. So, the biological ORCA protocol utilizes three precise cross-lateral neurological triggers to flip the executive switch and force an absolute deactivation of the default mode network. The left eye visual lock. By closing or covering your right eye, or if you just have the ability to focus on your left eye, look through your left eye, anchoring a fixed, unmoving gaze upon a single point exclusively with your left eye. At this point, you force the right retinal fields, the right occipital tract, and the right frontal eye fields, this is Brodmann area 8, into a state of high intensity spatial orientation. You are turning on the right brain's primary tracking system. Then you have the right nostril inhale. By completely blocking your left nostril, you draw high velocity air friction across the dense sensory mucosa mapped straight to Brodmann areas 1, 2, and 3, the primary somatosensory cortex, on the left side of your brain. This massive sensory surge commands the left hemisphere to snap out of the abstract default mode network daydreaming and focus entirely on the physical presence of the airways. From there, this electrical current spreads immediately forward into the left dorsolateral prefrontal cortex and the subcortical striatum, the commanding generals of the central executive network. By holding a left eye visual lock while breathing through the right nostril, you are purposely generating an intense diagonal electrical crossfire across the hemispheres of your brain. This extreme cross-lateral tension forces a massive electrical exchange directly through the central hemisphere connector, the corpus callosum. The high beta fragmented static of the default mode network cannot survive this organized cross-chiasmic fusion. Now, science shows us other ways to achieve the same alpha reset in clinical environments. Auditory entrainment, using alpha binaural beats to trick the brainstem into creating a 10 hertz cycle pulse. Kinetic synchronization, like Qigong, Tai Chi, rhythmic cross-body movements that force alternating hemisphere communication through the motor strip. Biochemical induction, utilizing targeted amino acids like L-theanine to block excitatory glutamate and naturally boost the alpha wave power across the parietal and occipital lobes. So, protocol execution, broadcasting the alpha frequency. To execute the protocol and drop your biology out of the digital trap, move through this physical sequence deliberately. The piezoelectric route. Stand or sit with an upright spine. Gently tuck your pelvis and sacrum slightly downward, opening the lower lumbar column. This physical alignment compresses the lower pelvic basin, setting the stage for the sacral piezoelectric battery. Press your tongue firmly against the roof of your mouth to close the biological circuit board, the left eye lock. Close or cover your right eye. With your left eye open, select a small, sharp, stationary visual target in front of you. Lock your gaze onto it completely. Do not let your left eye wander. The right intake valve. Raise your right hand. Use your thumb to completely seal your left nostril shut. The first loop. Inhale slowly and smoothly through your open right nostril for a count of 4 seconds. Direct the air deep into your lower abdomen. Hold the air at the bottom for a count of 4 seconds, letting the mechanical pressure build inside the pelvic basin. Shifting broadcast. Maintain your left eye visual lock on the target. Switch your hand position. Release your thumb from the left nostril. Use your index finger to completely seal your right nostril shut. Exhale slowly through your left nostril for a count of 4 seconds. The counter loop. Inhale deeply back up the open left nostril for 4 seconds. Hold for 4 seconds, then seal the left nostril and exhale out the right. So complete this alternating cycle for 3 to 5 full breaths, never breaking your left eye visual lock on the target. Now, reassembling Osiris. As you execute the 3 to 5 breath valve switch, the rapid shifting of somatosensory data between Brodmann areas 1 to 3 across your hemispheres acts as an internal Z pinch. It disrupts the chaotic, uncoordinated rhythms of the scrolling brain. The hyperactive, anxious default mode network is forcefully silenced, thrown under a massive neurological suppression blanket deployed by the newly awakened left dorsolateral prefrontal cortex. The frantic high beta brainwaves instantly collapse. In their place, your nervous system begins to broadcast a massive, unified, and deeply coherent alpha brainwave frequency, 8 to 12 hertz cycles across your entire cortex. This is the ultimate reunion of the Western mind. We are bringing the ancient Greek concepts of the nous, the higher mind, and pneuma, the living breath, back into a singular marriage. We are uniting the Christos, the descending positronic light of the heavens, with the Ruach, the magnetic electronic life force of the earth. You see, the concept of both prana and chi are based upon living plasma in the air. A living conscious energy that it can be said to be intelligent energy that is not self-referential, it's not self-conscious. It's a intelligent energy. To he who has, even more shall be given, and to he who has not, even that shall be taken away. As you breathe in, as you begin to attract the free energy in terms of electrons and protons and the deep mystery of the positron, as you begin to get Shiva and Shakti to entangle and encoil, you only find you get more. You get more of this, and the positron and the electron, they can combine into the gamma ray photon. So you get the highly charged light. It's this deep mystery of the male and the female. The positron I just see as little crosses from infinity. There is no better way to think of them. The physicist Feynman thought you could imagine them as coming from an alternate timeline or the future. They come spinning out of nowhere, out of the allness, out of the fullness, the pleroma or the nous. You're back to David Bohm with the implicate order has brought the nous back, brought Plotinus's noose and the Valentinian pleroma back as this great cosmic mind. And we are one with this cosmic mind. It's the only mind there is the mind of God. And this data that is us gets zipped up and returned to source. Our DNA is designed to be zipped up for packaging and returning, and for packaging and for transmission. We are gonna our data upon death will be zipped up as well. That zipping up is a dodecahedral sort of golden mean compression that Dan Winder talks about. This acceleration into infinity, opening up with the seventh seal. But the seals themselves are like iron oxide, ferric macromolecules. And this is how the information is stored in. It's locked into these magnetite crystals. And you unlock them with this rising current of chi, this biological plasma, that piggybacks upon the cerebral spinal fluid going up the spine. And this current is meant to nourish the third and fourth ventricles of the brain as you get fresh oxygen and cerebral blood. It's all meant to happen at the same time as you get freshly ionized. So that's what the pneuma is, this living ionized breath. Because it's the nitrogen that combines with the carbon and the hydrogen to give us, and the iron to give us consciousness and memory. And the air is primarily nitrogen. We focus on the oxygen, but combined, it's a living ionized or ionic breath. And as we breathe, we create this pump effect, and the heart already is creating this intense electromagnetic energy field. And we're already attracting ions as we become transistors and transduce the heat of the earth into electrical energy at the end of the day. So that's why we're saying this is the ultimate reunion of the Western mind, because we reincarnate and we are really not separate from the earth or from the higher self. So anatman, or the anatta, you have to allow this ego self to be blown out. And so you realize you're one with the earth mother. And it's really her. You can sense all this plasma, this living plasma, as free electrons and entangled protons and the photons that come as a result of the positron electron collisions, that it's all getting imprinted with consciousness and DNA and memory. And that's what we are. We have that, and we shall continue to have those things, even though our physical bodies evolve. According to the law of one, we become more like light and less like matter. So certainly light is the template for how we move into divine order, the idea of music operating on the octave, the idea of music and light and sacred vibrational geometry. But it's also in our chemistry, in our biochemistry, and there's a sacrality to just our breathing into the quantum mechanics of microtubules in the heart and in the brain, and how the heart is actually the driver, the heart rate variability. And so that's the shin, of the heart mind, if you will. And the heart mind drives us Merkava as well. And all we do is try to keep the Z pinch, keep that so Shumra, that central column, open. This balancing between the left and the right and the male and female. So in the Egyptian mythology, the body of the king Osiris was chopped into pieces and scattered across the land. His resurrection occurred only when those pieces were gathered and assembled back into a unified whole. And that's us. Our fragmented ego selves, our fragmented attention is like Osiris. All the left hemisphere and the right hemisphere have been disconnected. The prefrontal executive cortex, the dorsolateral prefrontal is taken offline, and you have the the orbital prefrontal is above the eyes, and the medial prefrontal in contact with the posterior cingulate and the anterior cingulate, running the whole show as the default mode network. So we have to, by running this cross-chiasmic loop, we pump cerebrospinal fluid back into the third ventricle. We lock the cortical motherboard back into place, this 6-layer cortical stack that can become a hexagonal toroid and actually uses the magnetite to send nanobioholograms as not just the biophotonic emissions that we already know about. There's also nanobioholograms being transmitted as a means of cell-to-cell data exchange. That's the work of Dr. Helios for the sun, Banacloca, CLOCA. So ultimately, you are turning your physical body into a living Ark of the Covenant. That's what this figure 8 is. See, the true Ark of the Covenant had radioactive materials and did harm. I mean, the Philistines were happy to give it back. Here, we're not radiating anything negative. Our heart's gamma rays are just love and light energy, because we're in sync with the alpha brainwave of the planet. And that means from the turtles to the hummingbirds, the butterflies, everybody will be attracted now that the Earth's alpha wave is increasing. It's no longer comfortable at a mere 8 Hertz cycles per second. It looks like the whole thing might be coming up to 13. That's what's ratcheting up the tension. And that's what's keeping our default mode network on. So while we have to get into the alpha state itself is increasing so that we can become more intellectual as beings and do more telepathic exchanges of information. It's not all going to be about AI and technology. A lot of it is us becoming one with the biosphere and each other. And again, this is not a wellness hobby, what we're talking about. This is a multi-million-year-old cosmic operating system, and you just turned it back on. That's what the yoga, we're going to be bringing in from the yoga to Qigong, this ancient knowledge that really is not from Lao Tzu or the Buddha or Confucius. We can give some credit to Patanjali for compiling this, but the masters who gave us this knowledge may go unnamed. But at least we can do our part, project the Buddha of the basin, and share this information with grace and dignity. Om Shanti Om.